Hi, my name is Mark, welcome to Games Web, and in this video I'm going to talk about Vallejo's Xpress colour paints. Having spent a full month using nothing but Xpress colour paints and give my thoughts and honest opinions on them, so let's check it out. Okay folks, welcome back. As you can see here, I've got a big tub full of paints. These are the full range of Vallejo Xpress colours. I ordered these from Wayland Games around the beginning of November, and they were delivered just before New Year's Eve. I think it was the 29th of December they were delivered. And I haven't really had a chance to use them, so my challenge to myself, my challenge for the year, is to paint as many miniatures as I can. Doing at least one a day, every day, for 12 months. And so far I'm not doing too bad. I've managed not to miss a day, and I managed to get quite a lot done. So my goal for February, I've not decided on a goal for March yet, but my goal for February was to paint just using Vallejo Xpress colours, black, white and metallics, nothing else. Let's kick things off. Okay, so my first model was the Huntress from Papsikels. As you can see, if I can zoom in, there we go, zoom in a little. Oh. I ended up turning the camera around. Okay, so this is the Huntress from Papsikels. You can see on the flesh tones turn out really, really good. That's on a, I think it was the White Scar from Games Workshop base for the paint, so the aerosol, and then these are the browns, the dwarf skin, and then I used one of the browns and mixed a little bit of black with it, and then used the browns as a wash over the top of my gold. So as I said, the challenge was to use nothing but metallics and black and white, so I couldn't use any of them, mix them with other colours, so that's what I did with this one, and she turned out quite well. So she's the Skull Huntress from Papsikels. So in keeping with the condition, I'm going to carry on, and the next miniature is also from Papsikels. I will leave links to all these miniatures down in the description. Okay, so this is one of the resistance fighters from the Patreon. These guys meant to go up against Terminators, and I decided to try a different experiment with this. I put the paint on the palette, mixed it to the colour I wanted using the brown and green together, and then left the paint to air dry for about 40 minutes before I went back to it, and then used it as a regular paint, and then highlighted that plate with the greens and white. I think it turned out alright. Now, the big problem with the Vallejo Xpress colours compared to, say, contrast colours is you're limited to how many there is in the set. There's not very many, there's only 24, but you have to use different techniques to try and get the best you can. Okay, so this one is using the plasma red, and again using the flesh tone, but the flesh tone was, the dwarf skin was diluted slightly to make it a little more natural, a bit more neutral. So this figure is one of the visitors from Daniel Chambers' Raven X Studios. Models I love, they're brilliant. They paint up really nice, and they paint up quite quickly as well. And that's just black, silver, and also the reds and the flesh colours. But I did actually have a bit of white in to change the colour of the black tunic, the tabard. I changed it using a little bit of white. Okay, so this is one of the commanders. She's a captain. That's why she's wearing a yellow jacket with a yellow helmet. Again, that's just as it comes out of the bottle. So these are this is nuclear yellow over plasma red. The boots have got a bit of gloss black on them to, well, gloss varnish on to actually make them stand out. And then, of course, the rest of the details are picked out in black and silver. And they're from Raven X Studios. Okay, so next up we've got a two-part model. Okay, so this is a Brahman, this and a cart for use with games like Fallout, Wasteland Warfare. Brahman's a two-headed steer, or cow, not steer, two-headed cow that populate the mutated wastelands of the far future, and this is made from the remnants of a car. Now, unlike the others, this was airbrushed on, and as you can see, looking through the details on the side, you get a really good technique with them with airbrushing. They turn out really well. And again, just black, white and metallics used on the Brahman. Then we have another Vermilion, that's from Vermilion Miniatures. This is also from Vermilion Miniatures, and I use the same technique on this as I did on the soldier from Papsikels. The greens were basically the troll hide and the orc skin mixed with brown, I think. Yeah, I've mixed with one of the browns and then a little bit of black added, and then just left to dry, and then I dry brushed on top of them, and then everything else all done using the paints as mentioned. And that's from Vermilion. Then finally we have these guys. I've got quite a lot of these done because these were quick, and sometimes you don't have time to paint an entire figure every day, so you've got to try and work out what you're going to use. So these are from 3D Breeds Join or Die Kickstarter from last year. I've got lots and lots of these printed and painted. I think I must have like about 150 of these guys painted. They paint up very quickly, but these are all done entirely just using black, white and express colours and metallics, and the detail's fantastic. This dwarf skin is probably the best flesh tone that I've used on all of my miniatures, including the legendary Gulliman flesh from and Fireslayer flesh from Citadel, the contrast paints. But these are really good. I really like these. And for someone who's got vision problems, they paint out really, really well. I'm very, very pleased with them. Okay, and I've got a couple more of those. I like this one especially. The blues are very vibrant. Now, as you can see, I'll move these out of the way because he's very detracting him. Right, so the blues turned out really, really well on this guy, and so did the leather on the waistcoat and the boots. They'll go down really well when we play again next time. Okay, so that's a quick look at those guys. I've got one last thing to show, and then I'll give you my final thoughts. I'm just going to put these back into my little case so I don't break them before I get to play with them. So, they turn out really well. It wasn't a bad challenge, as challenges go. I mean, I shouldn't really challenge myself to do this kind of things because my eyesight's very poor, but I find that painting really relaxes me. I've got very high blood pressure, and painting lowers my blood pressure. Right, okay, I did mention very earlier on when I showed the Brahman that I did try airbrushing, and this is an attempt. This was my first attempt at using the airbrush on a model with the Xpress colours. Now, I'm not very good at airbrushing. I'm still learning how to use an airbrush, and I really apologise if this actually sets anybody off, because I know some people have problems with things like this, but I really like the way this turned out. Okay, so this is a 3D print of a tarantula that I found on Thingiverse, and I was going to print it out using Fallen Wasteland Warfare. And as you can see, it's a big boy. He's quite large. Now, all this was done using a black primer, and then I used the airbrush and went in with the airbrush, and then just started building up the layers with the dwarf skin and the other brown, which is, I can't remember what it's called now. I'll have a full list of all the paints that I used anyway below, but I didn't use all of the paints, of all of 24 paints. There's a couple of them that I didn't use because I had no reason to use them, but this turned out really well. I'm very, very pleased with it. And there's a failed print of a Protectron, so I just chopped it up, and you've got the Protectron on the base. and the spider's not glued on. As you can see on the base, there's a skeleton on the base. For to say that I actually did this using an airbrush, I am really pleased. Really pleased with that. It's one of the best things I've painted in a long time. Unfortunately, his flowers weren't stuck down properly, so they're coming off his base. Okay, so that's a quick look at Xpress Paints. Right, if you just give me a moment, I'll just reset things and I'll give you my final thoughts. Hi folks, welcome back. Okay, these are my final thoughts on what I thought about the Xpress colours, using them daily for a full month, albeit February, which is the shortest month of the year. There's not a full range of paints available yet, there's only 24. So can't really compare them to contrast paints or to speed paints, which have almost 100 paints in each of them. Even more now that speed paints are bringing out more paints. Big plus, big cons, pros. Big pro for them is they don't react. You can't, you can mix them and they won't bleed through with the colours below. At least I've not found them bleeding through at all with any of the paints that I've done. Unlike Speed Paints 1.0, where they have a very poor consistency with and reactivated on certain colours. Con, there's not enough paints in the range at the moment. There is definitely not enough browns. Although the browns you get are brilliant, there's not enough browns. There's no black, no greys. There's one black, which isn't really good. If you try and compare that to the black from Speed Paint or the amazing black from Citadel's Contrast, Black Legion, or the Black Templar, both of those paints are my go-to blacks. I use those all the time, and Vallejo Push Primer Black, which I use all the time because they're thin to the right consistency and I really like using them. Whereas these paints they're black on this, which is called Black Lotus, I think, is not a very good black and doesn't cover very well. Likewise, the white isn't very good either. However, that said, there are some very good colours here. Right, so going through the primary colours, we've got Plague Green. I said in the video earlier that it was Troll Green that I used. It isn't, sorry, Troll Skin Green, or whatever it's called. It wasn't, it was Plague Green. That one's a good one. Nuclear Yellow is outstanding. That's a very nice, warm and rich yellow. You've also got an Imperial Yellow as well. Plasma Red, which I used on the on this guy or girl, you know, very bright, vibrant red. That's a cracker, good one. And then Storm Blue is also a very good blue, but you've got to build it up. You can't just put it on and let it dry and then think it's going to be perfect. You've got to build it up. Best paint of the lot, if I can find it. Wasteland Brown is the other brown that comes in the pack. Now, I didn't try any of the purples, and I didn't like the white or the black. But there again, you know, like these paints have only just come out. Black Lotus is the black. Not very good. Not very good at all. You do need to shake these quite a lot to get the consistency of the paint right, or they just come out watery. So if you've got a Vortex, which I don't have unfortunately, I'd suggest strongly putting them onto a Vortex. There's no paint separation on the bottom of the pots like you see with contrast paints, on most of them anyway. Even on this one, which is the white, that's the Templar white, and as you can see on the bottom, if the camera will pick it up, there's a little tiny bit of paint separation where the powder settles at the bottom, the pigment settles at the bottom. Okay, but the best paint of the lot, the one that I need to buy another one of because I've used most of it on another project, is this one. I'll leave a link to all the names of the best colours as well. This is Dwarf Skin. This one is the business. It's excellent for flesh tones. If you use it with white, you can get really good graduation on your flesh tones. It's good for leather as well, and leather work, and I'm very pleased with it. And this is what I use through the airbrush with the Tarantula, so I was really pleased with it. That turned out, and for someone who can't see very well to paint, I'm very pleased with it. So it's only early days for Vallejo. I mean, Vallejo make a massive range of paints and painting accessories, and they're my go-to product for painting most of the time anyway. So most of my paints tend to be Vallejo and a mixture of Vallejo and contrast or regular Games Workshop paints. Although I tend to paint almost primarily with Vallejo rather than Vallejo Model or Vallejo Color, because they're already pre-washed, pre-thinned, so it makes it a lot easier for me to control them. And I've got to the point now where I can actually dry brush with most of the paints, but that's for another different video. Right, so worth getting, worth picking up. Is it worth picking up a full set? I don't know. I mean, it costs £66 UK for a full set of all 24 from Wayland Games. So they were selling them, I think it was £2.35 a bottle each, and they've still got lots of them left. I went on the website earlier and they've still got lots, so I'm going to reorder some more of the dwarf skin because I'm running low on it now. Negative comments, not many really, just apart from the range being very small and the black and the white being not very good. We need more greys, we need a decent white. If you can pull off what you did with the browns and the yellows and the reds, you'll be onto a winner. But at the moment, I'm holding back judgment. We'll see how we go in about another year's time when they bring out the next version. I've got a feeling that very shortly they're going to bring out a metallic range, because they've been beaten to the punch by Speed Paint. Because Speed Paint have brought out their Army Paint have brought out their version of Speed Paint Metallic, which is due to its shops in March. Actually, we're in March now, due to its shops in April, according to all the pre-orders. And that's a massive range. That's like 140 odd contrast style paints. Now, again, they've addressed the issue of the reactivation. Whether it works or not is a different matter. I've not tried them, and I don't really use Speed Paints very often. I don't use Army Paints very often. But if I can get hold of some, I'll give them a shout and see how they work. Right, so thank you for tuning in and looking at this brief comparison of 28 days of painting with Xpress colours. So, as always, I've been Mark. Thank you for tuning in to Gamers Web. No matter where you are in the world, please stay safe, look after yourself, and catch you on the next time. Bye.